Okay, hello everyone. I am coming to you back again to try and work through this tech stuff. I gotta tell you, this webinar was supposed to start 27 minutes ago, and it's been kind of a hot mess. My computer has been acting all kinds of a fool. YouTube has been not treating me well, or maybe it's user error. I'm sure it is. But in any event, I want to thank you. If you've been sticking around and you've been patient, excellent. If you haven't, don't worry. I'm going to make recording for you. You will still be able to access this material, okay? So you will be able to, if you missed it because you just could not hang around for all the foolishness, I get it. I feel you. And what is going to happen is I'm just going to muster through. I had all of this fantastic, these fantastic slides I was going to show. The YouTube is like, oh, guess what? We're not going to show your slides, and it's going to be a whole hot mess. But guess what? We're going to do this anyway because I promised you some good content and some good information. So whether you need to catch part of it now or the replay later, stay with me. Okay, it's gonna be good stuff. Good. So just get used to looking at my face. You're gonna have to look at it for a little while now, but I promise you the content is definitely worth it. Okay. And let's see. Yeah. Okay. So we're listening to a little bit of Whitney Houston. Whitney's got me going. Whitney's bringing me back and putting me back in the mood. It's fantastic. We can overcome anything, right? So that's exactly what we're going to do here. Okay, so let's get started. What I'm just going to do is I'm going to reference my slides. And what I will also do is I will make the slides available in my online school. So this is the way my online school works. I am a member of Teachable, and Teachable Academy has some really great fabulous online courses. I have several online, I have a couple of online courses through them, and it's amazing. And so one of the things that folks who registered for this webinar got to do was they got access to some freebies and some other cool things, which I'll tell you about in a moment. And the way that I will make the PowerPoint slides available is via that Teachable link, okay? So some people are watching this on the Teachable site. Some people are just watching it on YouTube. Welcome. Either way, we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay? I'm going to give this somebody who loves me. Okay. So let me just, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy the registration link into YouTube, into the YouTube description here. So that way, if you want to go ahead and register, you'll be able to do that. Okay? And then other than that, we'll go ahead and get started. Now you might be asking yourself, why does it matter so much that you have slides, Ayana? And I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm a former teacher. And for me, it's like, I really know that when someone's talking at you too long, we can tend to kind of zone out. And I'd hate for that to be the case here. But I'm going to work around it. So even though it pains me to not have a PowerPoint, to my soul, we're going to go ahead and do this anyway, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. This is, as a reminder, this is the Fail Proof Your Goals webinar. So thank you to everyone for being so patient, okay? And what you can expect during this time is we're really going to have a conversation, a deep conversation about what gets in the way of goals, okay? Now, this is a huge thing for us because we have a tendency to set goals all the time. I set goals, you set goals, set life goals, professional goals. Sometimes we go through and we have a tendency to just kind of leave it at that and not really analyze what is getting in the way. But via this webinar, there will be clarity that comes along with this process. I promise you. So if you actually take a moment to kind of look through what is getting in the way of those goals, you'll find that the information that you get from that is so valuable. It helps you move forward and actually learn how to fail-proof your goals. Oh, got a little 80s swing going on here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the music though, just so you know, it's not getting in the way too much. Okay. Okay, 1 second here. That comes along with this process. Okay. All right. So we are going to get started. And the second thing that we're then going to explore is like how do we overcome these things? So the first thing is you can see I'm a little off. I'm going to get it together, but I'm a little off because my slides are not on the screen. So I'm going to work off of them and you will see my face. Okay. So the second thing that we're also going to talk about then is what to then do about that. Okay. So the first thing is I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my business before I get started. So the business is called Thrive and Be Whole. Okay. And I'm the founder and I'm a certified health and life coach. And one of the things that I do is I offer, self-love and self-care coaching to people. I really support people who have a tendency to put their own needs last and help them learn how to make themselves a priority so they can move forward. I also have health coaching programs. I have life coaching programs. People come to me for a variety of different things. People usually come to me when they tend to feel stuck, but they know they want to move forward. Okay. I also do and organizational coaching. I love that. I love doing workshops. I love going to groups. It's just amazing and transformative experience for me. I also, and for everyone involved, hopefully. And then I speak at conferences and at universities and colleges. It's really fantastic. I really enjoy it. And then I also do some work that I really enjoy, which is working with community organizations and schools. Okay, so that's a hugely important one for me. And one of the work that I do is I used to be a teacher full time. And now one of the things that I do is I work at one of the schools I used to teach at, and I support teachers and staff with wellness to keep themselves sane. Okay, so those are just a handful of things that I do. I feel like I'm moving my hands a lot like Donald Trump or Beto. All right, so a little bit more about my story before we jump into this. Why do I care so much about all of this? Why do I care so much about goal setting and wellness and mindfulness and all that kind of comes back to my story. Okay, so my story, you can't see the slide, but they're very cute pictures of my kids, I assure you. So I'm very much, a certified health and life coach again, and I'm the founder of this company. I'm a family woman first and foremost, and what that means is, I have a fantastic husband and amazing kids, 3 kids total. Okay, so my stepdaughter is 24, and we have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. She'll be 2 in like a couple of days. It's really exciting. And and I say that I was an educator for 10 years. I also was a caregiver for my mom before she passed for about 10 years. And I say that because helping to support people is genuinely my passion. It's just part of what I love doing. And I was a community organizer as well too. But I started to realize that after I had some of my own personal experiences with stress and overwhelm, I started to realize how essential a healthy mindset is for everything that we want to do. Everything that I've ever wanted to accomplish has only been accomplished by virtue of me having a healthier mindset and working on it. So it's become my passion then to support people with that work. Okay. So now that's kind of the resume side of things, but I also want to talk to you a little bit about like some of the struggles that I've had to work through. I've worked through a lot of struggles as have we all. And one of the things that I've been through was being exposed to a lot of trauma in my life, and being raised to put other people's needs before my own. Yeah. I don't know how many of us can relate to that, but I absolutely was exposed to a lot of trauma in my life. And when I say that, I'm talking about we all are, just so you know, but I was exposed to, like, I was in an abusive relationship, and I was, had a lot of death and situations around me in my life that definitely led to me feeling sad and hopeless. And then I was raised not really knowing how to deal with that effectively, to be honest with you. My parents did the best they could, but um, sometimes it was, I think that our parents teach us what they know. And in this case, that was a struggle for them as well too, about how to effectively manage their own self-care. And so I was raised to always put other people's needs first, to take care of other people. And so many of us have that. And so many of us were brought up in that same way. Now, this is important too. I never felt like my dreams were as important as what other people wanted. Okay, I don't know how many of us can raise our hands and feel like they're a part of that situation or they have that going for them, but that was definitely my story for a long time. And it was definitely something that I struggled with. I was a people pleaser. Okay. Again, how many of us are people pleasers or recovering people pleasers? I like to say I'm a recovering. But again, me putting other people's needs before my own. Okay. And as a result of all of this, I spent a lot of time out of touch with my voice. I spent a lot of time out of whack with me and who I am. And again, for those of us who are caregivers and we're brought up to care about people, it's a beautiful thing, but it's a common thing that then we lose touch with what it is that we want and how we feel about things. As you can imagine, all of these things kind of led me to a place of feeling disrespected and dealing with a lot of anxiety. Now, I also felt disrespected and pushed around by my job. Teachers, hello? Okay, we weren't just striking for no reason. And and it's not just teachers. There's so many of us who are kind of who go through our days feeling disrespected or feeling unfulfilled by the places that we work. And that was definitely my story too. And then, I also was, spent a lot of time searching for happiness and how to live contentedly. So I like to say that all of this, while it was a struggle and it was difficult, it definitely led me to be the person that I am today. And it saved me in so many ways. I'm just now really learning how to love myself and I'm on a journey of that. And so because I've gone from this place of being in depression and anxiety and hopelessness to a place of feeling good about myself and feeling like life has possibility and going for my dreams, we all can do it. Okay. And so I'm very passionate about supporting all of us with that. Now, here's the real thing, right? We all have our stories of joy and pain. We all do. Okay. But we also can rise. We all can rise. We all can overcome and rise above. And so my whole goal for you is this. I would love for you, and you have the right to rise. And one of the ways that we do that, there's so many different ways: healing, support, therapy, counseling, coaching, right? Friends, supportive networks. But another really important way is by having hope. Okay. Having hope and dreaming and setting goals. And that's why this webinar is so hugely important. Okay. Because it's when our goals are deeper than just, oh, I'd like to lose weight. There is a deeper purpose to why we ought to set goals and why we should do them effectively and really thinking through them. Okay. Okay, so now we've kind of established all of that. Thank you for indulging me and letting me get to know you a little bit. So here's the $1 million question then. Why on earth do we struggle with goals? Okay. Why do we struggle? So now I like one of my slides here, because let me just remind those of you who might be joining in. I've been having all types of tech issues around showing my slides. So it's just me and I'm going through my slides with you looking at my face. So enjoy. But here are the things I want you to think about. Thinking about a goal you recently tried to accomplish and but that you weren't able to accomplish for whatever reason. And really just kind of asking yourself, what genuinely got in the way? What genuinely got in the way of you being able to accomplish that goal? Okay. Now, for many of us, like there's so many different things. When I ask people what gets in the way of you accomplishing your goals, oftentimes the common things that come up are, I don't have enough time. Okay, I don't have enough time in my schedule. I can't make an hour in the day to accomplish this goal. I can't make an extra 30 minutes. Oh, if I could just extend the day to 26 hours, I'd be good, right? Another thing that people commonly say gets in the way, the to-do list. I have everything on planet Earth to do and take care of, okay? Another thing that comes up, and that comes up for a lot of people, kids, family, loved ones, okay? As you heard me say before, I got little kids. I definitely understand the struggle. And again, I'm looking over at this slide now. I have these different pictures on there that you can't see, unfortunately, but I will attach the slides to that webinar, to the Teachable webinar registration. So if you haven't registered, the link is in this chat. You can go ahead and register for that now. You'll be able to access all of this after the webinar is over. I'm going to upload these slides so you'll be able to see them. So another picture that comes up, lack of money. Lack of money is another component as to why people feel like they can't accomplish their goals. Okay. Then another thing, responsibility, right? I have too much on my plate. And I get that. I was a caregiver. I am a mom. My kids are upstairs slowly waking up from their naps right now. I get it. Okay. And, the lack of time, these are all very real and valid. But here's the thing that we have to really get real with ourselves about, right? These are all valid concerns. And I was also kind of in this realm where it was very easy for me to just kind of get stuck there. But really just if you get real with yourself for a moment and really think about your life, how much time do you actually take for yourself really? Just ballpark on a given day. Is it an hour, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 5, less? Okay, none. And then also, if that's the case, what gets in the way of you taking care of yourself? And then finally, how often do you put other people's needs before you? How often do you do that? And I'll tell you this, you heard my story a moment ago where I was talking about how difficult, like how much I've struggled and overcome and been through. And as a caregiver and parent and teacher and community organizer and spouse, I mean, there's so many things that can be put before my own needs. So I get it. I was definitely trapped in that cycle not that long ago. So I get the struggle. My days were often very much without me being involved in them. I felt like I was kind of at the mercy of everything around me. I felt like my to-do list was just kind of happening without me, without my input sometimes. And a lot of us feel that way. And so those are the surface level things that we say to ourselves, the time, lack of money, um, all the responsibilities we have. And while those are important, sometimes they can be an excuse. If we really ask ourselves and are honest with ourselves about why we really struggle, there are three main things that tend to get in the way of why we accomplish of not accomplishing goals. Okay. You want to know what they are? Teaser, right? So the first thing is fear. Fear, plain and simple. Now, that may not seem very revolutionary to you. We've heard that said before, but I'll go into more depth about what that is and the most common fears in a moment. The second thing is not knowing your why. Hmm. What do you mean, Ayana? Not knowing your why, not knowing what motivates you or why you set a goal in the first place. So we'll talk about that. And then the third thing is not dreaming. Hmm. A little bit, maybe didn't necessarily think about that one, but not dreaming, not going for broke, not going for the stars. Okay. I'll get to all of those in just a moment. But let's start with our first one, fear, because that's the most common one that we tend to reflect on if we tend to reflect deeply on our goals, right? So in the fear slides, and I apologize, these fear slides were great. There were a lot of little cute pictures that went along with them, but if you register, you'll get to see them. Now, the most common fears that people tend to have or that come up the most frequently are number one, fear of failure. Mm, fear of just like not accomplishing the goal. If I set a health goal for myself or a weight loss goal for myself, but I don't accomplish it, I'm going to feel like a failure, right? Plain and simple. Same thing with starting a business or, insert your goal here, right? Whatever professional goal that might be or whatever life goal. Fear of failure, plain and simply. The second fear that tends to come up most commonly, fear of rejection. Okay. So fear of being rejected by peers, by loved ones, by people that we care about. Okay? The third fear that tends to plague us, fear of feeling like not enough. Oh yeah. I know this one very, very, very well and very intimately. Okay. Fear of feeling like not enough is huge, right? How many times does that we step into a new arena or we have these dreams and goals and desires for ourselves, but then we're like, oh, am I good enough to make all this happen? Especially for me starting a business, that was a huge opportunity for fear of feeling like not enough. Same thing with caregiving, same thing with being a parent. And I'm sure that you have your own life circumstances where there's tons of opportunity for that fear, right? The fourth fear of being an imposter. Okay. So it kind of goes hand in hand with fear of not being good enough or not being enough. Fear of being an imposter is kind of like you got a good opportunity in front of you, but once people start to figure out that that I don't really know what I'm talking about, they're gonna like come after me with pitchforks, right? It's the fear that like I really am stepping into someone else's shoes and I don't deserve this opportunity. Okay. Then finally, the fear of the unknown. This is a huge one, right? If I step into this new space, I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm just going to stay safe and where it's comfortable. Okay. Now, I am an expert on all of those fears because I've definitely had all of those fear voices in my head all the time. And now, the next thing that I want to then talk about is when we talk about fear, we have a tendency sometimes to beat ourselves up. And I really want us to not do that because there's a reason why we culturally have a lot of fear. Human beings, we have a lot of valid fears that come up, and some of them are life-saving, but sometimes they can cripple us, right? They can get in the way and stand in the way of opportunity. And so with this, I had this next slide here with some information on about like why, that how our society struggles with self-love in general and how our society kind of encourages us to have more fear. So listen to these interesting statistics, okay? So 80% of girls in a study claimed that they had negative body image issues. That's huge, right? Negative body image issues. And they link it to remarks that were made by friends or family. Okay. And then there's another study around that as well, that like 80% of women have negative body image issues because of what they've seen in the media. Okay. That's a high number. And I dare to say it's probably a little bit higher, to be honest with you. These are people who are self-reporting, so you never know. Okay. 85% of the world's population are affected by low self-esteem. 85% of the world. Okay. So many of us are battling with this feeling, this feeling of being not enough, of being a failure, of being an imposter, right? Of having all of this low self-esteem. 85%. That's huge. Okay. Now, it's estimated that approximately 50 million Americans specifically suffer with a diagnosable mental disorder in any given year. 50 million of us, okay, from depression through eating disorders. And a lot of these mental health conditions are associated with self-perception. Do we perceive ourselves to be attractive enough, right? Do we feel like we're enough, okay? And then, other studies that are coming out about addiction show that low self-esteem is the common denominator among people suffering with addictions, okay? So with addictions to any type of substance. So these are snapshots of things that I would love to go into deeper, like tease out a little bit more. And actually, when I do workshops and speaking events, I do go a little deeper into these statistics. And if you have questions about them, you're welcome to put them in the chat here. But what I'd love to pose to you is this, right? The whole purpose of this information is to let you know that you are not crazy. You are not crazy. If you feel like there's something wrong with you, because I've felt that way myself, if you feel like maybe you're just like everyone else has it right or has it together, but you're just a little defective or whatever else, I'm here to tell you that you're not. There's nothing wrong with you. There is a cultural and world problem when it comes to self-esteem, and especially in our society as well. Okay. So you're actually quite common and quite normal. And that's a little scary, but it's also kind of comforting. It just means that there's nothing wrong with you, right? And because these things were mindset created, they can be overcome. A little bit more statistics real quickly, if you're not totally convinced, okay? So let's see. This is an interesting one. 42% of girls in first through third grade want to be thinner. First through third grade. That's heavy, right? So again, it's not just you, but there are things that we can do to combat that, and that's part of what this webinar and this changing our mindset is all about. Okay. All right. And then one final thing. This was really interesting. Skin bleaching cream, right? For people who want to lighten their skin tone. So meaning that there's an unhappiness with your skin tone, is a $31.2 billion industry worldwide. Yeah. So there's a lot that can be unpacked there, right? Now you're probably like, okay, well, what can I do with all this depressing information? And what does this have to do with my goals? And the answer, thank you for being so astute. Now, and the answer to that is that there is obviously, your self-esteem, the way that you view yourself, the fear voice that you have in your head, and the fearful negative thoughts that you tell yourself directly sabotage and get in the way of you accomplishing your goals, bar none. So this is one of the first places to look. That if you're struggling with accomplishing your goals, check your fear voice, check your fear, check the messages you're sending yourself, check your self-worth, okay? Because I promise you, once I started to work on my self-love and self-worth, my levels of motivation and energy for wanting to accomplish my goals went through the roof. It was incredible, okay? Now, what can you do about it? Glad you asked, okay? Now, I actually have some journal questions for fear and for self-forgiveness, and they're really, really powerful. And I'm going to give those to you now. Okay. So, what I'd love for you to do, if you'd like to take a moment to write them down now, if you're not looking at this via the Teachable site, you're going to want to write these down, and I will say them slowly so you can copy them. But if you are looking at this through Teachable, don't worry, you will have access like this is one of your freebies that you get for participating in the webinar. So it's all available in the file underneath this video. Okay, there's a file, there's like a link to a file underneath this video. You'll be able to check these out. These are journal questions for fear and self-forgiveness. Okay, now I've used these myself. Okay, I've used these and I use them to work through negative thoughts and negative self-talk. And I've also given them to many, many, many clients and people that I've spoken to, and people tell me that they are transformative. So I'm excited to share them with you. Okay. The first thing is that when you journal to yourself, you want to talk to yourself the way that you would talk to a best friend. Okay. This is key. Now, the first prompt, the first question is, or the first thing you're going to write about is this: things I did that I forgive myself for. Okay. You're going to take a moment to forgive yourself. And this may be a little tricky for people. So the way that you're going to start your sentences off is like this. Okay. Here's a way that you can kind of start that off. I forgive myself for X behavior or for X action because I know that I was blank. Okay. And what I'm going to do about it is blank. Okay. So for example, I forgive myself for eating that hot dog when one of my goals is to lose weight, and I've tried and it's been my goal forever, right? I forgive myself for eating that hot dog because I know I was feeling overwhelmed and kind of stressed out, and that I was just kind of, it was something that I needed in the moment to kind of help me out. What I will do about it next time is I'm going to try to find other healthier snacks that also taste good that, or other ways of coping that don't involve eating when I'm stressed out. Does that make sense? Okay, you see how that works? So that is the first prompt, the things I forgive myself for. Okay. Now the second prompt is this. So you're going to want to write this one down too. Things I did that remind me of my strength and beauty, AKA the things that I'm proud of myself for. Write down everything you're proud of yourself for, even the little things like I'm proud of myself for clearing my inbox. That's huge. I'm proud of myself for checking the mail and not like just throwing it in the trash. I'm proud of myself for calling that person back when I had the option to just kind of ignore it. Even though it seems small, okay? Take stock of all of the many things you're doing that you can be proud of yourself for, okay? And then finally, the third prompt is things I'm grateful for. And this is huge. So transformative. I love this one. Okay. So all the little things and the big things. Sometimes we only want to write about the big things, but force yourself to think about the little things too. The more that you can build this up, the more that you can write these things down, the little things on up to the big things, the better it'll help your spirit feel. Okay. Sometimes we feel like we have to have accomplished something big in order to feel grateful or celebrate ourselves. But no, there are tons of little things. All right. Now, this is going to help boost your energy and your self-esteem. And again, this is available. If you look at that link that's in the chat, you can register at that link and you'll be able to access this freebie, okay, in the Teachable website. All right. Okay. So let's now move on to the second part here. I don't think there's any questions. Let me just see if there's any questions here. My chat isn't automatically coming up, so I'm just going to take a moment here. All right. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions, so we're just going to move right on. Thank you. Now, we're going to go into the next section, which is not knowing your why. Okay, so not knowing your why, not knowing why you're motivated to do something. This is a huge one, and this is often one that we overlook or we don't think about. And to be honest with you, I didn't even think about this until I started, getting my certification to become a health coach and a life coach. Okay, so here's the thing: not knowing your true why. Not knowing why you are motivated to do something. This will get in the way of you accomplishing your goals again and again. Okay. Now, we create goals all the time, but many of them stick and we don't totally ask ourselves why. Okay. Now, when we say, if we say, I want to lose weight or I want to get that better, high paying job. Okay. We know what we want on the surface, but if we don't have a true deep understanding of why we're doing it, we end up giving up on our goals. Okay. It happens all the time. And our goals are not often connected to a deeper sense of why or one that we're clear on. Okay. And so we need to ask ourselves, what is the greater desire that is happening? Okay. That lives underneath the goal. I like to call it, no, I learned this from my health coaching school. I love it. It's a fantastic term. The big motivating factor, or as I like to call it, the big MOFA. Okay. The big MOFA. What is your big motivating factor? What is your greater desire underneath the goal? And so you might ask yourself, well, how would I know that? Back when I was, for people who know me personally, I'm shifting my chair a little bit here. There we go. For people who know me personally, they know that like I recently lost 40 to 50 pounds and I've managed to keep most of it off. I've had a little couple of moments where I've gone slightly up, but not all the way. And now people often ask me like, how did you lose that weight? How did that happen? And how have you been able to keep it off for so long? I've been able to keep it off for like a year and a half now, which has been really great. And I feel really healthy and good and energized. I exercise regularly. And and one of the things that I tell them is about knowing your motivation. Why do you actually want to go through with that goal? And so for me, when it comes to losing weight, I have been up and down in my weight throughout my life. And there would be times when I thought I was motivated to lose weight, where I was exercising more and eating a little bit healthier. But really what was motivating that was for me was that I just wanted to look attractive, right? I wanted to look good in like a bikini before summertime. But, that's really a surface reason for going after your goals, right? And shockingly, not enough of a reason to actually get you out of bed in the morning to work out when you could just sleep in, right? It's not a good enough reason. So when I discovered the big MOFA, I was like, spreading this far and wide to clients. Now, how do you discover the big MOFA? Excellent question. Okay. How do you figure out what your greatest desire is? You have to ask why. And you have to ask it several times. So I'll give you an example. The goal, okay, I want to, let's switch over to a financial goal. I want to make more money. Okay, financial example of a goal. I want to make more money. Now ask yourself why. Why do you want to make more money? Well, I'd like to be able to pay down debt. Okay, that's a fine answer. Most of us stop right there, but let's take it a step further. Why do you want to pay down debt? Well, I'd like to be able to enjoy my life and my family and do the things that we love without worry. Oh, okay. Why is that important for you? Huh. Okay. You might have to think about this for a little bit, but the why underneath that is I want to be stress free and feel good. Huh. Got a little deeper, right? And now you can ask why again. Why is that important for you? Why do you want to do that? I'd like to have freedom. Freedom is important for me. I want to be free. There it is. That's the big motivating factor. Do you see how that works? So, see where the goal is, I want to make more money. And we all have those goals, right? But the first level is like, oh well, I want to pay down debt. I have a bunch of student loan debt, you know, speaking about my case in particular, right? And we usually just stop there. But you'll see that if you just ask why a few more times, why, you'll get to the actual thing, the actual big motivating factor for you, which is freedom. I want to be free. I don't want to be held back. I don't want to feel like a prisoner. I don't want to feel captive and stuck in my life. I want to feel free to make the kind of moves that I want to make. And I want to feel free to live life on my own terms. That's going to get me up out of bed in the morning to go take steps towards my goal, but not necessarily just paying down debt. That's kind of boring, right? Okay, and then finally, let's get to our third. Oh, and then one other thing about that big MOFA. So again, if you register and you go to that teachable link, and you register, you'll be able to access that. Excuse me, moving my body, getting comfortable. But you'll be able to access that big MOFA resource as well too. That's also a freebie that's available when you register at that site. Okay. All right. Now let's move into the third thing that gets in the way of goals. Not dreaming, not dreaming. Okay. Now, this might be a surprise to some people, but not dreaming is a huge thing. Okay. Now, here's the things when we don't focus on our dream, okay, like this is kind of the pattern that we've all kind of lived through. So I want you to kind of reflect back to when you were a kid and remembering when you were a kid and everything felt so magical, and you could see all of the wonder and imagination and beauty of the world. And, everything was just so fantastic and new and exciting, right? But now as adults, we've been taught to overlook a lot of that magic and that joy and that glory, right? But here's the thing, it's still there. It is still there. And we used to allow ourselves to dream all the time, right? When we were kids, no one could tell us not to. But here's the thing, we need to reinvigorate ourselves and get ourselves excited about our goals again and dream. Okay. We need to reconnect to our passion and our purpose. Now, so many of us, we set these goals and we're just kind of going through the motions of our day to day life. But I promise you, that is when you're not connected to passion or purpose, it's a lot easier to give up on a goal. We as human beings, we are creatures of habit and we do what feels fun and pleasurable. Okay. And so connecting to our passion and purpose is going to help us be able to sustain and jump back in the game when we feel like we don't want to take action on our goals. Okay. So here's the thing, just remembering and reminding yourself that you deserve to dream. Okay. And when so many of us go through the motions, it's because we don't take the time for dreaming. So here's an exercise that you can absolutely do. And again, if you this freebie is also available when you click the link in this description and you register through Teachable. It's the You Deserve to Dream slide. Okay. And this one is all about this exercise is fantastic, this dreaming exercise. And a lot of mindfulness experts do this, and it's very, very, very powerful. Now, what you would do is you would take a piece of paper and you would just give yourself permission to dream. Visualize 5 years into the future and put yourself there by writing in present tense. Okay. And write what it is that you see in your life at that moment. Write your dream, but write it as though you're actually living it. For example, oh, this is a good one. I love going here in my mind. So you're going to visualize with me. I am in Jamaica on the beach, lying with a margarita in my hand. My husband is in a a beach chair next to me, and we are very happy and we are excited about life and we are dreaming about the possibilities. We each make a lot of money as entrepreneurs and our kids are running around happy and peaceful, knowing that they are well loved and taken care of. Okay, you see that I've done this often, right? So that's an example from my actual dream, but I want to invite you to do that, right? Because when we set these goals for ourselves that are just not connected to our passion or our joy, it's very easy to give them up. Again, a lot of our goals and our dreams, they require work. They require consistency. They require getting up in the morning, maybe at 6:35, whatever it is sometimes, or staying up late to accomplish them. And the only way that we can do that is if we really deeply feel connected to it. Okay. We talked about, getting motivated around them. And now we're talking about the dream part. So you got to do this exercise because it's going to help you connect to what it is that you really want. And the powerful thing is this, after you write down all your dream and you put yourself in that present tense, not future tense, not I will be in Jamaica lying on a beach, but I am. Imagine that you're actually there and that it's happening because our imaginations are so strong. And if you can see it, you'll actually feel like it's possible, right? Okay. It's really just those little mental shifts that are huge and that help tremendously. And the powerful thing about that visualization, don't try to control it. Don't try to force it in one direction. But when you actually do allow it to go in the direction that it's supposed to go, you'll be surprised at what themes come up for you. And it'll also help you set concrete goals. Like you'll see in my visualization, right? One thing that came up for me was a good relationship with my husband, being able to travel to a warm place, preferably. You're like, things about my kids feeling happy, right? And so those are already concrete things that I can start to make actual goals around. Great. Now, how do I want to have that relationship with my husband? How do I want to create that relationship with my kids? How do I want to make that traveling happen? Okay. Does that make sense? So it's not, the dreaming is important, but it's also valuable. It'll help you set some concrete goals. Okay. And now, so we've talked about the three things that get in the way of actually accomplishing your goals. So fear, we talked about not being connected to your why and not knowing your motivation. We talked about not dreaming. Okay. Now we're going to talk about goal setting itself. Okay. And again, just as a reiteration, at the conclusion of this webinar, I will make all of the slides from this available on Teachable, on the Teachable site. So make sure you register in that the the link that's in the chat that I put in there. Okay, because that way you'll be able to access these slides and access the freebies as well. Okay, make sure you register. Now, for goal setting, let's actually talk about how to set good goals. Okay. Now, I was a teacher for a long time and I am a coach. So it's part of my job to help people accomplish their goals. Okay. And for a long time, I was really scattered about my own goals. And so, these are some tips for actually setting goals that are going to stick. Okay. Because, it's fine to say, I want to lose weight or I want to travel more or make more money, but how are you actually going to accomplish that? Right. So the first thing is this: personal goals are achievable if they are, quote, connected to your deeper sense of purpose and your dreams. We talked about that. If they're smart, okay, and when I say smart, I mean that stands for something. We're going to go through that in a second. So SMART stands for something. That's sum it up. Okay. Emphasizes the positive rather than the negative. Okay. If they're written down. Oh, yeah. I'm the queen of not writing down a goal, but written down really, really helps. It makes it feel more real and it makes us feel more responsible for accomplishing it. It's kind of a little trick, a lot of little mental tricks happening here. Okay. Now, also, too, you got to develop an action plan, right? So here's the thing: what specific steps will be taken to accomplish your goal? When and how often will these steps be done? These are the questions you got to ask. How will you evaluate your own progress? And then what will be done if that plan doesn't seem to be working? Okay. All questions you got to ask yourself regularly when you're setting goals. So it's a little deeper than just what we think, right? Oh, I'm going to lose 25 pounds. Let me just join a gym. Now, there's a little bit more work that has to happen for them to really stick. Okay. And now here's the other thing. We're going to taking a moment to kind of set some goals. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time to actually write down some goals that you want to accomplish by the end of this month. Writing down 2 to 3 goals you want to accomplish this month for yourself. Okay. So you can take about 1 minute or so. I'll put on a little bit of background music while you do that. I had Whitney Houston going. Let's do a little Whitney Houston here. Ooh, or how about this? A little bit of Bobby Brown while you write down your goals. So taking just 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes to write down 2 to 3 goals that you'd like to accomplish. Oh, there's a commercial. There you go. But writing down 2 to 3 goals that you want to accomplish this month. Okay. And I'll give you just a couple of minutes to do that. Okay. Let Bobby Brown serenade you. Here we go. I don't know if Bobby is helping or making things harder. Taking a moment to write down goals, and I'm going to adjust my seat, get a little water. Oh man, I wish you guys could see my screen because I'm watching Bobby Brown dancing right now. It's great. Okay. We'll take 1 more minute. You will be there every step I make. We'll be together. Okay, so starting to wrap up. Okay. Sadly, I'm not to pause you, Bobby. Okay. All right. That was a quick little Bobby snippet. I hope you enjoyed it. And so now what we're going to do then is we're going to now turn those goals. So you're just going to take one goal during this time and we're going to make it a SMART goal. Okay. Now, this is going to be a little tricky without my slides. And again, as I mentioned before, so sorry that I'm having this tech issue then that I can't show you my slides and you're just looking at my face. But, I'm going to do my best to give you this information right now. If you'd like to access the slides again, Make sure you register at that link in the chat so you can access all of this, like the freebies and the slides as well. This is a freebie, okay? SMART goals, and you can Google SMART goals as well. They're also available on Google. But SMART goals stands for specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and time oriented. Okay. So the first one, specific. This is an important one. Okay. So a lot of times, oh, I want to lose 25 pounds. Or I'm sorry, that's a good specific goal. That's actually good and specific. But I want to lose weight or I want to get healthy. Eh, what does that really mean, right? Getting healthy is a really just kind of broad and really big goal to tackle on. That can involve a lot of different things in it at the same time, right? So if we say I want to get healthy, it would really feel overwhelming. How are you going to get healthy by tomorrow or by like next month? What does that actually mean? What does that look like, right? So instead, I want to lose weight. I want to lose 25 pounds. I want to lose 35, 45, 50 pounds. I want to start eating better quality foods. I want to eat foods that nourish me. I want to eat healthy foods 5 days a week. I want to start cooking for myself. So you get more specific and then it's easier to take action, right? And it's easier to see if you've actually accomplished it or not, right? I want to get healthy is very vague. Okay. But I see it all the time. I want to get healthy. Now, next thing you do to make it even better and to take the goal a step further is to make it measurable. Okay. So how will you know you've met your goal if you can't measure it? It's very important. So not just I want to eat healthy foods, but or I want to eat healthier, but I want to eat healthier meals 6 days a week and have a cheat day on the seventh. That's something that you can measure, right? Did I eat healthier meals 6 days a week? And was the seventh open? That's something that I can actually measure. I can write it down. I can use a chart to track my data and see how I did, right? That's how you know if it's measurable or not. Okay. Attainable. Now, here's an important thing, right? It has to be a realistic goal that pushes you out of your comfort zone, but is not all the way outside of your comfort zone, right? So, and one thing that can happen is I want to lose 30 pounds in 2 months. It's kind of a lot, or I want to lose 30 pounds in like 6 weeks. I've had people say that to me before. Now, it's got to feel like a goal that is going to be a stretch for you and a challenge, but it also has to feel attainable. So instead of that, it might be like, you know what? I'm going to try to lose 10 pounds in 6 weeks. To where you're like, okay, before I wasn't losing any weight. In fact, I might have been gaining some weight. So losing weight at all for me would be a nice push. And 10 pounds in about 6 weeks feels doable to me. Okay. These are different ways that you can make it realistic, but also a push. Okay. Now, remember, if you make it too far out of your comfort zone, you won't even want to try it. And if it's too easy, then there's no point in setting the goal, right? That means you're already kind of there. Now R for reasonable. Okay. Now, reasonable expectations that can be met in a time frame is important. Can the goal actually be met in the time frame you've set for yourself? And then finally, T is time. Okay, so it's got to be specific. It's got to have a date and time on it so you can actually measure it and follow up. Something you can put in your calendar and be able to judge, right? So and tracking your progress weekly or daily until you get to that end goal. So and here's a final note about the goals too. So those are the SMART goals, and again, that's S for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for reasonable, and time for time sensitive. Okay, or a date and time. And here's the important thing you want to know, that it's stated in the positive. Okay. It's initiated and can be maintained by you, and that it's stated in the positive. Okay. This is an important thing about a goal. It should not rely on what someone else is going to do. Okay. My goal should not be that I'm going to, when I finally get this check, I'm going to go to the gym. No. Right. It's got to be something that doesn't depend on other people. So what can I do for myself in the meantime while I'm waiting for that check? Because otherwise we can get that, if we're waiting for someone else to be able to start our goal or the actions of someone else, we could be waiting on that for a long time, right? And it can become another excuse that gets us to not try. So here's the thing. Here's an example of a SMART goal. Okay. So instead of I will get healthy, I will eat a healthier diet by planning healthy meals and grocery shopping once a week. I will find healthier recipes online and meet this goal in 6 weeks. Okay. See how that is a smart goal. It is specific. I can measure it. Once a week, I will go grocery shopping. I will go online and find healthier recipes and you can even take it a step further. On Sundays, when I have free time, I will meal plan and plan for my recipes, right? Okay. And again, just to remember that these are all, when you go into uh, the link in the chat, you'll be able to register and actually access the freebies that I'm talking about. Thank you for your patience with not being able to see the slides right now. Okay. And now to make sure that they stick, here's the thing. How do we make sure that the goals actually stick? You can establish a supportive network. This is critical, right? So many of us go our goals alone. And I have to say that again because it's an epidemic. We feel like we have to do everything by ourselves. We live in a culture that is very much pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And sometimes that can be to our detriment. And especially when it comes to mental health and accomplishing our goals. Establish a supportive network. Not optional, mandatory. Do it. You will go so much further if you have group support around you. Trust me, okay? I meet every week with a group of fantastic entrepreneurial ladies who we all are Black business owners and we support each other. We just sit down, we talk about our goals, and it's fantastic. And I don't think I would have gotten this far without them, to be honest with you. I think I would have called it quits long ago, okay? You can do it. A group, you can go on to online groups. You can join, running groups, walking groups, whatever your goals are. But there's tons of online communities that can be supportive. You can create, you can have friends and family invested in what you're doing and talk to them. Ask if you can check in with them a couple times a week about how you're doing. These are all ways that you can get tapped into a community. Okay, you can talk to a coach. Shameless plug. Okay, and then the next thing is, discovering what your big motivating factor is. Okay. And I won't go into the questions here because this is available as a freebie, but there are some other questions that can help you really uncover your big motivating factor. So when with that one goal that you're kind of, asking yourself, what is behind that? What is motivating me to get that done? Right. And let's see. Here are some of the questions you can ask yourself. Actually, I'll go through them real quickly since you can't see the slide. But thinking about your goal, right? What will accomplishing that goal do for all of the areas in your life? Health, spirit, relationships, finances, career, right? Why is having those changes important? Okay. What is the important thing that is driving you to make the changes now versus before? Why now? Why not 2 months ago? Why not 5 months ago or a year ago or years ago, right? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this goal to you? And if you find, or how important is this motivation to you? If you can find something that motivates you that's at a level 8 or higher, 8 out of 10, then you're doing really well. Okay. All right. So now we are going to move on to an anchor. Okay. And we are going to so in anchoring your big motivating factor, this is another thing that is very helpful. Okay. An anchor is something that is physical in your environment that will remind you of why you're doing something in the first place. Okay. Sorry, there's my baby's up there crying. It's real life around here. But this is an important thing too. When you put physical reminders in your physical environment about your goal, Post-its up on your bathroom mirror, or inspirational posters, or writing something on your fridge, or having an alarm pop up on your phone. These are all different ways that you can your goal will be anchored to your physical environment. Okay. And I promise you, it helps to just a little reminder can go a long way sometimes, especially when we start to feel discouraged or when we're starting to feel like, maybe I could cheat a little bit. Okay. All right. Now, and then there was one other thing I was going to say. Oh, wait, no, that's it. Okay. We're at the end of our presentation. I want to thank you again so much for hanging with me and for sticking with me through the trials and tribulations that have come from the tech stuff. I had to attempt this again. If you're just joining me now, I had to attempt this webinar 3 times, and I finally just had to resolve to do this 25 minutes late. and without my slides, being able to, I worked so hard on my slides and they're beautiful. But again, the good news is, for hanging in there, I want to honor you and give you a fantastic and wonderful gift. Okay. First, the gift of these slides, okay, because these slides really are helpful, and the free resources that are in them, the homework, the actual practical tools that are in them are really, really, really helpful, and they'll will help you out so much tremendously. So they are going to be on. Again, if you use that link that is in this description or in the chat box, you will be able to go check them out yourself in the Teachable website. Okay. And here finally is the gift that I want to offer you. Okay. A lot of time it takes support to get these goals accomplished. I've said this a multitude of times. Coaching is one of the things that dramatically changed my life. And if it wasn't for that support system from coaching and therapy and friends and family and a running group and entrepreneurial groups, I wouldn't, people ask me, how are you able to quit your job and lose weight and keep it off? It's because I'm accountable to people. There are people who are lovingly pushing me and reminding me that I can do this and that I have power. And I want to offer that to you. I want to offer you a free clarity call with me. I'm a certified health and life coach. I love, 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 and thrive off of supporting people and making folks feel good. And I would love to help you with that as well. And so, what I'm going to offer you is, if you're in the Teachable link, there is a link, there's a button below this video that says, hold on, I'm going to find it. What exactly does it say? It says, sign up for a call. Okay. But if you're not on YouTube, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that link in the chat in our discussion here. I'm going to open that up so you can also be able to access that. And what's powerful about this call is that a clarity call is just that. It is just about you being able to get clarity around an issue. You are not owed, you don't have to sign up for services. It's just you'll get a free call with a coach to discuss, some of the things that might be to figure out what might be getting in your way and just come up with a strategy for being able to accomplish your goals. Okay. You deserve it. You deserve to go after them. Don't let the fear and the lack of motivation and, and you feeling inhibited by your dreams or that you don't deserve to dream. Don't let those thoughts stop you. You deserve this. You deserve to get clear. And I would love to offer you this gift. Okay. So I'm going to put this link in the YouTube stream so that you'll be able to access that. Okay. So just a moment here. And with that, I'll kind of pause. And if there's any questions, I would love to answer your questions. Okay. Oh, okay. You know what? My computer is just really acting up and it's not allowing for that. But if you do go into that link, that is right, that link, and you register right there, there is a free link inside of there once you register that will help you sign up for a free coaching session. Okay. It's a powerful, powerful tool. I'm offering this to the people who are registered. I guess I just have to offer it to the people who are registered specifically for this webinar. So go ahead and register. You'll get the freebies and you'll get the slides and you'll get access to my free coaching call. Okay. With that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this helps to put you in I hope this is was a great way for you to kind of start off your week. And thank you again for hanging in there with the tech issues happening as well. All right. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.